Welcome to the Everyone's a Critic movie review podcast. I'm your co-host, Bob Zarrell. With me, as always, is professional film critic Sean Patrick. Visit us at ihatecritics.net, everyone's a critic podcast.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our handle is CriticsPod. Listen to us at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Alexa, all your podcatchers. Subscribe to the show, rate and review the show. We'll read your review on the air. Give us a 5-star review, and we will give you a Blu-ray 4K Blu-ray version of a couple movies some studios have sent us. If you give us a 5-star review, we'll read it on the air and do that for you as well. Apple Podcasts is the best place to do that. And then let us know when you do it, because we don't always see those, especially if you're from another country. Patreon.com/criticspod is the best way to help support the podcast. I know I teased a Patreon episode last time we recorded. It fell apart, but we do have another one in the works, so that will be coming your way hopefully very soon. But anyway, if you want to hear all those bonus episodes, patreon.com/criticspod is the best way to do that. You can also help us out a ton by doing that as well. We stream live on YouTube whenever we record. If you follow us on social media, we will send a link out when we do record. Also, if you click on the bell to notify you when we go live on YouTube, that will help as well. And then TeePublic is where our merch is at. If you go to ihatecritics.net, click on the TeePublic link, or search CriticsPod at tpublic.com. I apologize. Last week we had to not record. We just couldn't get our schedules to line up. But we are back with a kind of combine the 2 weeks together, sort of. Although nothing really came out this week. But anyway, we are back this week. And thank you for your patience. Last week I released our 2015 episode of Jurassic World when we all went and saw that. And listening back to that as I released it was very funny to hear me. Because if you long-time listeners of the show know that I definitely am not a big fan of fan service. And historically, Josh is more forgiving of it, especially when it's something he likes. Well, in this episode, I'm defending the fan service of Jurassic World while Josh is tearing it apart. And I think you just fast forward a few months and Force Awakens comes out and the tables turn. So it's fun to hear it's kind of like when you go and find your old reviews and then realize, oh yeah, I like that. It's almost like listening to a different person. It was kind of interesting. Just a
quick aside from that, because I found it very funny. I went to share some old Tom Hanks reviews today on Twitter, and I'm like, because it's Tom Hanks. It's got a movie coming out this next week, and I shared a couple, and I'm like both of them were bad reviews. It's like, oh, it's Larry Crown in the Terminal. Oh shit! Like those are the ones that I had ready. I really do like Tom Hanks. Then I read my Catch Me If You Can review. I'm like, I was kind of critical of that one as well.
That's awesome. Not that I'm rooting for you to be anti-Tom Hanks, but
never. That will never happen.
But anyway, we are back this week, and we will be taking a look at the big movie that came out the last 2 weeks, Jurassic World Dominion.
Yes, directed by Colin Trevorrow. It's a disaster, beginning to end. This movie is borderline unwatchable. The cast of the original Jurassic Park is back, along with the new cast, with the plot being centered upon essentially the kidnapping of the young girl who was the clone for some reason. I don't know. I don't care. She's not a bad young actress. She does her job well enough. It's just that Colin Trevorrow doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's not great at directing special effects. He's not giving himself anything of a story really to work with. So I'm not sure what drew him to this, because he really doesn't use the dinosaurs all that well. I mean, there's a movie called Jurassic Park, and you've got all these amazing dinosaurs, and he creates this plot about a company that is using locusts to destroy crops. And it's like, that's great. And I know they're like dinosaur branded locusts or whatever, but like, I want to see a T-Rex, man. I want to see somebody get bit in half by a T-Rex or something. I don't know. I want to see raptors, man. And he kind of sidelines the dinosaurs in a weird way. And because he's so busy trying to cram these characters and this plot into this story that he keeps forgetting that, oh yeah, I've got these new dinosaur that's the most dangerous dinosaur in the world, and I've got that other dinosaur that was the most dangerous dinosaur in the world. I need to have them fight, but I also can't kill any of the main cast. They've all got main cast powers.
Spoiler alert.
All of them have that main cast force field around them.
And there's a lot
which
of
is
them.
obvious from the first 10 minutes in the movie. Like, honestly, I never for once felt a moment of like fear or excitement or worry for these characters. Not for a moment. They were never remotely. Chris Pratt crashes in a plane, and I still was like, he's fine. I had no concern for him passing away whatsoever in a plane crash. And then, you got Bryce Dallas Howard hiding from a T-Rex in a lake, as if that would work. The most dangerous predator in the world that can't find somebody this, like, a half an inch deep in a lake, because it's the most dangerous predator in the world. Give me a break. Oh, I hated this movie. I hated every second of it. I hated the old cast coming back. They just had jack all to do. Goldblum's just doing the greatest hits. Neil and Dern are on autopilot. Pratt and Howard are doing the best that they can, but there's just nothing here. Colin Trevorrow is just not a guy who could tell this story. I mean, his dinosaurs are rubbery. He does this scene early on where Chris Pratt and two guys are chasing dinosaurs on horseback, and I mean, it's terrible. It looked like CGI from 20 years ago. I mean, the dinosaurs are so rubbery, and Chris Pratt is not connecting with them on the eye line in any way, as if nobody made any effort to try and make sure that it looks like he could actually see dinosaurs around him. He's supposed to feel danger in this scene. Like, there's a potential that these raptors or whatever he's chasing could turn on him and kill him, his horse, and his guys. You never get the, for a sense, not for a second, do you sense that he actually sees dinosaurs. It's so pathetic. The whole movie is pathetic.
Yeah, it definitely was not made for us. My 10-year-old loved it. I mean, as soon as that's the audience. Giga, whatever, that big, huge dinosaur, he lost his shit in the theater, like, oh my God, that's this. And I'm like, okay, I've never even heard of that before. And, I going back to work and talking to people who saw it, and it was just like, okay, this is made from you. And someone was like, oh yeah, so-and-so said it was good. I'm like, so-and-so would say it was good. My wife was out of town when it was just me and my son, and we went and saw it, and on the way home, I'm doing the voice command text, and I'm like, Jurassic World sucked. And then he yells out, Jurassic World was awesome. And it got mine right, Jurassic World sucked, but then it switched to Jessica, it was awesome. And, after nearly 20 years of marriage, I thought it was funny, so I went and sent it anyway. My wife did not think it was funny, even a little bit. And I'm like, really? You don't trust me even? I mean...
Who the fuck is Jessica, Bob?
So I'm not kidding. And I'm like, literally, your son yelled Jurassic World was awesome, and it auto-corrected. I thought it was funny. Sorry. And now my son keeps referring to my side chick, Jessica. And I'm like, you got to stop saying side chick. You're too young to be saying that. It's not proper. And
he's not saying side piece.
Yeah. The thing kids know these days is insane.
I know, right?
But I guess for me, it's just like none of that matter. Everything you brought up doesn't matter because they don't care. I'm watching. I'm thinking this looks like the Coke commercials when, like, the first time they did the polar bears in the Super Bowl like 20 years ago, which was cool at the time.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, it's amazing. It's better than it's ever been. I'm like, oh, mate, I really? I guess I didn't pay that much attention. I didn't think so. And then, like, all these other movies where you have other characters that are okay to die off, so you can at least have a little bit of suspense. They don't have any of those characters because they're all main characters in this movie. Mm-hmm. And they're the only 7 characters in danger, really, because the rest are protected. Yet, and they're, like, really more so in danger than any of these movies combined. Yet, you know, for not even a half a second, is this movie have the balls to kill off Chris Pratt? You know, doesn't even have the balls to kill off Sam Neill, but let alone Chris Pratt or Bryce Howard.
Goldblum has a moment where he's like trying to distract a T-Rex from killing everybody else and survives.
I mean, that wouldn't have been enough.
The most dangerous predator on the planet is bested by having like a fiery branch thrown at it. Like,
yeah,
it's so dangerous.
And even if they threw us that bone, it wouldn't have been enough to save the movie for like super. But
hey, in fairness, they did kill the Barbasol can, the famous Barbasol can that everybody remembers from the first movie. That if you're talking about, you know, if you want to be a pedantic ass about it, shouldn't even be in this movie, considering where it ended up after the first movie. But nevertheless, they had to show the Barbasol can because we're going to throw in anything you might vaguely recognize from the first movie. I'm surprised that Campbell Scott, the bad guy, didn't have a picture of Wayne Knight on his desk. Like, just, hey, you remember that guy? He was in the thing. And then, hey, remember that music? That was in the thing that you liked. That's in the movie that you enjoyed, right? Right? Yeah.
I mean, this is greatest hits without even like one new song like every band likes to do when they're too lazy to make a whole album. They just want to release the greatest hits to put a new one on there. This doesn't even have the new song on it. It's as greatest hits gets. And I mean, clearly,
and you're talking about a band that only had a few hits,
right? And this is their 7th greatest hits album on top of that. They just re-released. It's the Walmart Essentials or whatever they call it when they start. Only a handful of music fans get what I'm talking about. But
good now.
Yeah, it is. It wasn't for me. I guess I look at it like it's like going on an old school roller coaster that you survived, and it's not exciting because it's old, and it just gives you a headache when you're done. It's kind of where I was left at. I mean,
I guess I could accept this as maybe a kid's movie, but I would ask more. I would ask more from a movie than this for my kids.
For sure.
I mean, your kids deserve better than this. Your kids are still learning to reason and to, assess things and learn what's good and what's not good, or what they like and they don't like. This is a movie this is just brain candy. It's worthless. It's a fucking candy bar that they're going to shit out the next day and forget about. And I would rather they have some nutrients of some sort.
Right. And for my son, it's just he's such a big dinosaur fan. It really doesn't matter what it was. I mean, he watches a stupid cartoon that goes with this. He knows dinosaurs I've never even heard of. And
at this point, they've made up so many dinosaurs, you can't tell
which is real, which aren't. Yeah. He knows. He can tell you which ones are the real ones and the fake ones. And then he was even like, I was like, so which ones are the hybrid? And he's like, well, they're all hybrids, Dad. I'm like, well, okay, fine, but which are the ones? I'm like, fair point. But yeah, I mean, it's the adults that love this movie. I guess I'm not surprised because Vin Diesel has a career, but and not to shit on the Fast and Furious movies, but
I love Fast and Furious. A lot of people just like to go, I recognize that.
Yep.
There's a great Simpsons gag. I think it's Grandpa Simpson. He just watched the show that's just stuff that he kind of remembers. He goes, I remember that, and he's just satisfied that he just saw something that he recognized. And that's basically what this movie is. It's just a series of things that you probably recognize.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. It's just not good. But it's definitely not made for us. But we saw it.
We did.
And it's almost 2.5 hours long because everything Blockbuster has to be almost 3 hours nowadays. I don't get it.
Interminable. And it's a hit. It beat Lightyear. I mean, it in its second week, it beat Lightyear, which is like, I didn't see Lightyear, but I assumed Pixar would have enough juice. Pixar Toy Story combo would have enough juice to get past a second week of Jurassic World, and it failed. It came up short.
Yeah.
There's a conspiracy theory, by the way, that a theater manager was telling me about, where basically he says that Disney put out Lightyear specifically right after Jurassic Park with the specific intent to see it underperform so that they could justify to shareholders moving all of Pixar's outputs to Disney Plus. Now, I'm not saying I buy into it, but this did play out exactly as that theater manager said, with Jurassic Park kind of killing Lightyear.
Is Lightyear getting good reviews? Because I'll be honest, I hadn't even heard of Lightyear till this movie came out, and I saw the trailer before Jurassic World, and I thought it looked fucking awful.
It did all right. Yeah, it did get a middling, kind of lower tier Pixar review.
Okay. Well, it's a Toy Story spinoff, so it should.
I'm just getting away from animated movies for now. I just don't feel right going to animated movies anymore. I don't feel like I have the proper perspective on them anymore. Even Pixar, because I don't know. I probably should have stayed away from Jurassic World.
Yeah, it's just so hard to avoid these movies right now, but. I think that kind of picks up from here the rest of the show.
I hope so.
Although I guess I'll get your opinion of the next one, and then we'll know for sure. The next movie is the new Adam Sandler film, Hustle.
Hustle, yes, from Adam Sandler, starring Adam Sandler. And I don't have the director's name. It's a first-time director. Alongside a basketball player, a real-life NBA guy, Juancho Hernan Gomez. Plays a character who's a Spanish basketball player who Sandler's character Sandler plays a 76ers, Philadelphia 76ers scout. He goes to Europe regularly to scout for players to try and find, the next Dirk Nowitzki or, the next great European player. While he's over there, he sees this guy playing basketball in construction boots and beating guys who are faster and should be, more flashy and skillful. And he's just whooping their asses. He just keeps stealing the ball from them, putting it up, knocking down shots from everywhere. And it's like he's like found a unicorn, like this perfect player. But he can't convince Ben Foster, the owner of the 76ers, to bring the guy in. So he brings him over on his own dime, puts him up in a hotel, and tries to get him into the NBA draft. And along the way, he teaches him, more fundamental basketball, the proper way to play basketball. And this is a movie that takes its basketball very seriously. And I'm starting to wonder if maybe this is the way to get to Adam Sandler, to get him to work and put him with a basketball player. Because, Kevin Garnett was in Uncut Gems and he gave the best performance of his career. And now here, he gets to be, in the NBA. And he's giving another one of his better performances of his career. Sandler is really great in this. He's very focused. He's very determined. He's very engaged. He's got an appropriate love interest. I thought him and Queen Latifah had all kinds of spark together as a married couple, which I just totally did not see her casting coming. That was great. That was really exciting to see him with an appropriate love interest for once. And it worked. The only thing that doesn't work is Ben Foster. I love Ben Foster. Ben Foster is an amazing amazing actor, and he's not bad in this movie. He's just done dirty by a script that feels the need to have this paper villain inserted in there. He's constantly like twirling his mustache. I hope he fails this time. And he's just delighting in seeing this kid, this 20-year-old basketball player, trip and fall or get beat on a breakaway. And it's like, why would you enjoy that? Like, why? I know you don't like Sandler's character. I know that's, got some beef with him, but like, why would you want somebody to just do badly just because you've got a beef? That's ridiculous. And it's so over the top. It's so overplayed. It feels desperate. It feels like we need to have a villain to create drama when you already had great drama. And the fact that this kid still has a lot to learn about basketball, and those sequences, especially those montages of him doing fundamental basketball, or that great running up a hill bit that they do is really, that repeated bit was actually really exciting. He kept getting better and better and better. And I was really impressed by the way it was shot and the way it carried the story forward. They would insert that in again and again to show you the progress that he's making. And those incredible, drills that they came up with for Sandler's character to teach him with were very visually exciting. And if you're a basketball fan, you're absolutely going to go nuts for it because it's fantastic. Sandler's great. Queen Latifah's great. I hold the movie back a little bit because of the Ben Foster character, but I really do like this movie.
Oh, yeah. Everything about it is great except for, I don't want to say the story, because the story is good, but because you have to have that kind of man-made complex or whatever. It was already naturally there, like you said, the conflict. And that it was almost a little too forced, which allowed the movie nowhere to go except for where it goes, and it's going to go there. So it takes a little bit of that edge away from it, but which prevents it from being a Rocky or whatever. It just makes it a good movie instead. But you're right, the performances are fantastic, and it takes a half a second to strip away the Adam Sandler from this movie, because when you see Queen Latifah, you're like, that's not Kate Beckinsale. That's but it works great here. It's just you have to pause for a second and be like, oh yeah, this isn't Happy Gilmore, this isn't Click or whatever else. So, but it really is fun to watch. That's kind of the great thing about it is it's got a watchability of, I don't want to say a Rocky IV, but it's just something more, almost like watching The Last Dance or whatever. It's something like that. I could sit and watch this and go to sleep and just enjoy it because it's that much fun. It does kind of get you pumped up too. So if it's something you want it on in the background, you got the drills. If you love basketball, it's a movie worth watching. It's
absolutely
one of the best basketball movies, I think. Period.
Yeah, I mean it's a limited genre, so yeah, you're not wrong about that.
Yeah, I mean it's better than Blue Chips.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big Hoosiers fan either, so.
No, and I'd have to go back and rewatch that. I have a feeling that would have the natural type of, where I think that would lose some of what I remember of it. And yeah, outside of that, I can't think of much. I haven't really watched
the one where Whoopi Goldberg was coaching the Knicks, or the one where the guy's like a ghost playing for his basketball team after he died.
And then even like when Will Ferrell was on that run, having great comedy after great comedy,
semi-pro,
and then he does semi-pro,
yeah.
And it just ruined everything he's done. He's never quite been the same since that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely worth watching. I think people will enjoy it, and
I'm sure there's probably a basketball movie we're not thinking of that's probably a classic or whatever. But it doesn't come to mind immediately. So,
right. Yeah, I can't think of a Bull Durham.
For basketball now.
Yeah, Hoop Dreams, the documentary. I didn't really like that. Basketball Diaries.
Michael's "Come Fly with Me" documentary. It's just him dunking for 65 minutes. It's the greatest basketball movie of all time.
It's very watchable as well. But yeah, it definitely. It's good to see Sandler. This point in his career, putting out some of the best things he's ever done. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, good for him. I like him engaged. I wish he would stay this level of engaged in his performances. Absolutely. It's not like he's dour either. Like you could say that like Uncut Gems maybe was very intense and might not be for his typical audience, but he's very relaxed in this movie for the most part. Aside from when he's coaching him, he gets intense and he gets pumped into it. But for the most part, he's not like sweaty, desperate Uncut Gems Adam Sandler. This is an entirely different character. It has humor to it. He's very thoughtful and observant, but also very funny. He's just got a lot of charisma to show off here, and that makes it a much more of a mainstream film in that way.
Well, yeah, with Uncut Gems, it's more of him acting, and you can it's a great performance. This is almost more of a passion project. It looks like. I know he's a big basketball fan, So you can definitely see him enjoying what he's doing, and it's being captured, unlike some of his other movies where you assume he's enjoying making these movies on vacation, but they're too busy doing other things on vacation that they don't capture it on the film. But here it's all captured, and I definitely recommend it.
And he does a thing that that really great actors do, where he makes the people around him better. He takes this kid, Juancho Hernan Gomez, who doesn't have any kind of acting experience, and it looks like Sandler really made him comfortable, made him made him happy, and kind of brought him in as an actor. Really brought him up his performance. He's quite good in this, and I think a lot of the credit has to go to Sandler to getting him to a place where he really is acting.
Yeah, that's the one thing not the one thing, but I think it's really cool that for your level of hatred for some of his movies, I think it's harder on him because you know what he's capable of than you are some of the other people.
But that's the biggest issue. Yes, I know what he's capable of. I felt that way ever since Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah,
I saw what he was capable of, and I'm like, fuck you for not doing more of that.
No money in Punch Drunk Love. All right. I think this is the only movie I haven't seen this week. Where did they go? Oh, here we go. Cha-Cha Real Smooth.
So you didn't watch the best movie of the week.
God damn it.
Because this is the best movie of the week. Cha-Cha Real Smooth is starring and directed by Cooper Raiff alongside Dakota Johnson. It tells the story of a guy who just got out of college. He's looking to get into, he knows where he's going in terms of what he wants to do, but for the time being, he's having to settle in and work a menial job. And he finds something of a minor calling in being a party starter for Jewish youth parties. What do they call the Bar Mitzvahs? Where he goes to a Bar Mitzvah with his little brother, and he turns on the charm and gets everybody dancing and up and happy. And so people start inviting him to be part of their bar mitzvah, and he comes and he starts the party, and everybody loves him. There at the first one, he meets Dakota Johnson, who's in her kind of mid-30s. She's got a much younger daughter who's about 14 years old. She had her when she was about 14. She had her about when she was like 20 or 21. Very young mom. And she's obviously like 12 or 13 years older than Cooper Raiff's character. So there's that's a big difference in terms of age-wise. We don't think about it like it is, but it is. And so the romance kind of has that barrier there, on top of which her daughter is autistic. So she spends a lot of time with her daughter. And the daughter character is just so winning. She's just so lovely. She never overacts it for a second. She feels just so natural, and so she beautifully performs this performance. It's really lovely. She's got these lovely little grace notes that she brings. The little character beats that they use her for really forward the story and forward everybody's story while they're doing it, which is really great. It's also very funny. It's got some really big laughs. Some big unexpected stuff happens. The chemistry between Cooper Raiff and Dakota Johnson is amazing. They have like a really sexy chemistry, but they've also both got like things that are like holding them back. They, especially her, she's about to get married to somebody else, and she's kind of freaking out over the fact that the rest of her life is starting now, and so that's kind of got her spiraling towards the idea of maybe I can sleep with this 22-year-old guy, and he's aware of that and trying to keep her from he wants her really bad, but he also wants to protect her from herself in a way, and throwing her life away with him as much as he might want her to. And that's the conflict, his youth versus her kind of not midlife crisis, but close to life crisis. And it's lovely from beginning to end. This movie is just delightful. It's funny, it's romantic, it's sexy. It's surprising. I adore this movie.
God, now you have me wondering what the rest of the show is going to be like. I guess I'll have to come back to this one.
Yes, absolutely. This is a must-see.
Good luck to you, Leo Grande.
This is another terrific movie. I really enjoyed this.
I love this movie. And I was like, how could this be better than, or how could that be better than this one? All right, good. You had me nervous there for a second.
This one stars Emma Thompson and Daryl McCormick in the story of a woman who hires a sex worker to kind of explore her sexual fantasies. And she's very naive sexually, even though she's 63 years old, and she's not really had a lot of sexual experience outside of her husband, who was not a very sexually exploratory guy. She's got a lot of things that she wants to do, but she doesn't know how to ask for them or how to, how she's going to feel about it. She also is unsure whether or not she's ever had an orgasm in her entire life at 63, which has got to be, very, very emotional and makes sex even more emotional. And that really plays in this movie. Daryl McCormick's character is so interesting. He's got so many different layers to him. I love the way that she's eager to kind of share who she is and kind of use that as her shield, as just oversharing about her kids and her life to kind of keep him at bay for a little bit, because she's not sure how to ask for what she wants. And he's wonderful at sort of deflecting her questions about him, both as a sort of a professional guideline, but also just to kind of keep from becoming too emotionally involved, and pushing those lines of where they're going to be personally, plus the sexual stuff that is going to happen and does happen throughout. It's really smart the way they layer that throughout the entire story, and how these two characters grow. Even their conflict feels organic near the end. It's really smartly put together. Emma Thompson is wonderful. A lot of people have called her her nudity in this movie, they say it's brave or whatever. It's just part of the character. It's not about being brave. It's just about, this is what serves the character. And I'm sure that's the way she kind of approached it, was this is what serves this character. This is what what this character needs to do. And she looks great. That's what else can you say? She's awesome. She's an amazing actress, and she makes the nudity not something that is special, but something that is important. It's necessary to her to be nude in that moment. It's a kind of a completion of a character journey in a way. And I really appreciated the way that they did that. Just a fantastic movie. Sophie Hyde and Katie Brand are a wonderful combination of writer and director. They just did an amazing job putting these two characters in place and giving them beats to play and emotions to play. And he really steps up. I mean, you're talking about a kid who's not had many roles before this, acting opposite an absolute legend who's one of the the best in the business, and he really gets in there and he doesn't just hang with her. He's as good as she is, which is amazing. It's both a testament to how giving she is and how amazing she is as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of my favorite roles with her in it, period. I thought she was absolutely phenomenal. And he, like you said, he's right there with her the whole time. And in a lot of ways, having to kind of be the alpha in the, in controlling the scenes. And he holds up his end of the deal. Back to the nudity, calling it brave is almost like you didn't watch the movie.
Right.
Which is a frustrating thing, because it's like, basically you're getting at, well, she's 63 and she doesn't look like a 22-year-old model anymore, so it's brave that she would, and that's the polar opposite of what they're trying to accomplish with that scene. And and I've seen that too, and I just want to, it's just like pull your head out of your ass and watch the movie for what it is. It's one, I've never seen the Beyond movies or whatever they're called, but I assume there's something like this with a lot of talking, and I just love the dialogue. It's, even if they never even went to the sex stuff, I was enjoying it. I mean, obviously it's important for the movie to go there, but their chemistry was fantastic, and everything they did was just, I couldn't wait to see what happened next. And the conflict, like you said, organic. You felt for them, and it was almost like you wanted to cover your face because you didn't want to, you kind of felt the shame that she was going through when he reacted the way he did. And it was just so smart, so well done, so beautifully acted. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. I absolutely love this movie.
Yeah, it really captures sort of the gosh, the way people really are versus, kind of how you would imagine it. You imagine a sex worker being somebody who is, this magical being who can just take you to bed immediately and you don't have to do any talking. And the reality of it is even if it's a sex worker who is very, experienced, when you walk into the room with them and you're suddenly about to do it, you're confronted with the idea of actually doing that, as she is here. You're going to talk to this person. There's going to be nervousness. This is so much more real than anything you've ever seen before, because the way she approaches it, the way he approaches it. He's been here so many times. It's amazing because he's so young, but he's been in this situation where he's with women like her, and he's seen everything. He's not jaded about it. He's very kind and very patient, and really that kindness and patience is even sexier than his rippled muscles. Like the way he's just so sweet and just he's patient, and he understands the fear that she has and nervousness that she has, and they're dealing with each other on a very human level, as opposed to let's just put this thing into this thing and we're done.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely related to her character more than his, and I mean it totally explains why I'm not like a strip club guy, because that would be I'd be the guy that'd be asking the questions like, so why are you here? Do you really like doing this? And then it would bother me if she didn't like doing it, and they would play me like a fiddle, and they'd get all my money, and it would suck, and that's why I could never.
Or you get the experience of, yeah, I love this. I make a lot of money. I feel really sexy. This is really great. Why do you think it's bad? Why would you think it's bad? I'm like, oh God, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you.
Right. Yeah, no matter.
I've had that exact experience.
Right.
So I don't ask strippers whether they like doing that or not anymore. I only go once a year, but it's always that. I was going to have a very good time. Good.
Yeah, I don't know, but she's one of those, her and Daniel Day-Lewis, so I know they're widely kind of considered two of the best ever, and sometimes they drive me nuts when or I guess it's more Cate Blanchett than Emma Thompson I'm thinking of, never mind. But, she is so good in this, and, being a legend like she is, it really is impressive, how well he holds the screen. I can't say that enough. It's on Hulu now. I absolutely think everybody should go and see. I guess it's not, the Jurassic World Dominion audience probably will be like, why do you like these talkie movies? And that is what it is. But if you're listening to this podcast, you love movies and you like great performances, and this is just, if you like watching great acting, this is great acting, and it's worth it.
There's just nothing she can't do. I mean, really, there's just nothing she can't do. She is in Harry Potter. She's in Sense and Sensibility. She's in just anything. She writes, she directs. There's nothing that she does poorly. It's amazing. This character, you think about her in context. This character and her character from The Late Night a couple of years ago, which is kind of along the lines of Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada. Like, it's just, how does somebody contain that kind of multitudes,
Right.
It's amazing. And then she's Nanny McPhee. I was like, what the hell? She's amazing.
I mean, the way she disappears into this role, too, more so than, obviously Meryl Streep's the one everybody goes back to, but she's kind of stands out more and more because she's Meryl Streep. Emma Thompson's right there with her, as is Cate Blanchett, but totally disappears. Like, it's not, you don't feel like you're watching Emma Thompson. You feel like you're watching this person, and these two people interacting with one another. You kind of get lost in the fact that you're watching a movie, and it's such a trip, and I can't recommend it enough. And if at the end of it you're going, oh my gosh, she's so brave, then I'm like, come on, pay attention. Don't. Even my wife, when we watched
it's so dismissive. It's so dismissive.
Well, even my wife at the end was like, you think that's really her? I'm like, well, no, it has to be her. It wouldn't, or the whole point of the movie would be gone. So, I mean, and I get that's human nature, and that's part of why this movie exists, but I don't know. I love the message behind it on top of everything else that goes with it. absolutely love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you.
Worm. W-Y-R-M.
Worm. Yes, Worm is the name of the main character in this movie. It's a very strange universe, and at the same time, it's a very easy to understand universe, because it is in many ways a very typical teen romance, except that in this universe, there's one thing that they use. They have these things around their neck, and they stay around your neck until you have your first kiss. In this universe, they sort of track your sexual awakening. You know how you reach every level. It is part of graduating from school, is graduating to the next level of maturity, is having your first kiss, and then it kind of levels up from there, so they can monitor your progress in that. That's sort of a sci-fi conceit, I guess, in some ways. It's like a minor sci-fi conceit, because we don't have that in real life. But it is not really the main point of this movie, which is about just this weird little kid who's looking for his first kiss. Really, he's one of the last people to get his first kiss, and he's got this twin sister who has had her first kiss, and she's really begun to change. They used to be very, very close. Now they're not very close, and that's really been very hard for him. He's also just lost an older brother who probably wasn't very close to, but he lost a family member, so he's making these tapes of people talking about how great his brother was, even though maybe his brother wasn't all that great. There's so many wonderful, unique and funny and strange layers to this movie that I really liked it. I didn't love it. I think there's some things that hold it back, but for the most part, this is really kind of an impressively odd movie that kind of goes really hand in hand with our classic.
Oh, absolutely. In a lot of ways, the oddness of it kind of puts a ceiling on how good it can be, I guess. Almost gimmicky. But it's surprisingly dark with what the subject, at least from the watching the trailer, you're thinking what it's going to be. And it's just really, again, a dark movie about, a brother and a sister, more or less. And I did enjoy the journey of how it got to where it got. And I thought it was an easy watch. Again, I'm with you. I won't call it great. I might even forget about it by the end of the year unless I'm reminded. But
there's sort of a Napoleon Dynamite like obtuseness to it. Like you can appreciate it, but you can't get inside of it. It's that's kind of the feel of it. The oddity is so imposing that you don't really connect with it on an emotional level. I don't connect with Napoleon Dynamite on any emotional level. Right. I find it entertaining, but it's not a movie I can invest in emotionally, and so I don't really carry it forward. And I won't carry this movie forward, but I did appreciate. I love the aesthetic of it. I thought it was a very original looking movie. Really captures its own feel. It also it's a period piece. It looks like it's set in the 80s, but then it has this weird futuristic sci-fi conceit about the neck thing. So I love the oddity of it, but again, it's that obtuseness, that sort of off-putting weirdness. Kind of, it goes so far in that direction that there's really no emotional anchor for it.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I enjoyed watching it and watching where the characters went, but there was no relating to it at all. It was just like I'm watching stuff. Like, with Leo Grande, I could definitely relate with her character, but here I'm just watching characters, and it works for that, but it definitely has a limit of how much I'm going to like it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Dollhouse.
Welcome to the Dollhouse, 1995, directed by Todd Solondz, his second feature, starring Heather Matarazzo as the wonderful character Dawn Wiener, who is a junior high school kid who is very much an outcast. She's very much made fun of, very much othered, even at school and at home, to the point where she doesn't even really look like her parents or her siblings in any way. Like, that's the level of how far they push her to the outside, is even keeping her out of her own family in many ways. A lot of this, is about how high school and school in general just kind of sucks. Also, how middle child syndrome, where the middle child always feels like the one that's completely ignored. Because you've got the successful older child, the older brother is on his way to college and is in a band and doing all these things. The younger child who's just the youngest and adorable and a ballerina, and so she's completely, in every way, an outcast. And this movie wonderfully plays how much of an outcast she is, because she's so innocent and so naive that she really doesn't even see herself as alienated. She doesn't understand what that means yet. She's going to understand that in the future, how alienated she is, how divided she is, and it's going to probably carry forward with her the rest of her life. And I find that to be so wonderfully insightful of Solondz and Heather Matarazzo, really, to craft this character and tell the story the way they do, because it's an internal journey. You're basically seeing the evolution, or the growing evolution, the beginning of an evolution of a person who they're going to be one day, based upon the life experience they have, and that sort of outsized quality, the sort of broadness of the way that she's presented, the way the other characters are presented as just being a little weird, plays almost like she's remembering what her childhood was like, and it's in a way it's relating her childhood almost through a memory in some ways. And I find it very strange that there are people who don't like Dawn Wiener as a character. I've read a lot of things from back in the day talking about how unattractive she is, and it just blows my fucking mind. How dare you assess the attractiveness of a 12-year-old girl? What is wrong with you? You've got to be seriously messed up. And I realize 1995 is 27 years ago, and it's a different time. But it is never okay to put adult standards of attractiveness on a 12-year-old child. And I am shocked at the number of my critical brethren at the time who were assessing just how unattractive she is and making that part of the narrative of this movie. She's adorable, by the way. She's absolutely fucking adorable in this movie, and I fucking loved her the whole way through. I thought she was a wonderful character. I felt for her. I wanted somebody to just be nice to her for just a minute, just give her some kind of kindness. And I loved how resilient she was, because again, she never, no matter what happens to her, Brendan Sexton's character threatens to rape her, and she's just so either naive or just able to just take that in and just kind of play it off for what it is, or even part of her wants to give into it just because she wants somebody to be nice to her, which is a very sad quality, but it's not a pathetic quality. And that's another thing, is like people call her pathetic. She's not pathetic. She's 12. She's only now figuring out who she is. You've got to give this person, this child, the chance to figure out who she is amidst all of this alienation. And I'm frustrated by the way people react to this movie in many ways. I just think she's a wonderful character. I absolutely adore her, and I want nothing but great things for her. And yet at the same time, in my heart, I know that there's more pain coming. There's more heartache coming. There's more otherness coming. There's more alienation coming in her future. And that's sad, but it's also wonderful that Todd Solondz could capture that feeling so wonderfully, that internal journey so well implied into the future. It's an incredible movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But there's part of me that, knowing people who are kind of weird and quirky at that age, and they don't know it, and they don't know that they're an outsider or whatever, and then you almost, and sometimes they grow up and they never care, and part of me who wants to take this movie safely wants to apply that into this movie, like, well, she's going to be fine, because it doesn't matter that she's an outsider, and the way I want her to feel like that forever, and so there's definitely a defense mechanism I apply to this movie that prevents me from truly taking on what the angle you're taking from it is. It's only going to get worse from here.
I don't know if it's only
but you know what I mean. I'm wording that poorly, but it is. And back to the criticism of her. I mean, even watching when you have to criticize a child, period. Usually it's because they have to play an uninteresting role, or they don't have the charisma, and that's hard to even say out loud because you feel bad talking about a kid that way, let alone to go and talk about an appearance. But interesting is the most important part, and that's she's the furthest thing from uninteresting.
That's very true.
And that's what's important for really any character, not just kids. But that's a great quality in a character to be interesting, and I don't get that criticism at all. I mean, I barely think it's okay to apply that logic to adults when, in terms of attractiveness, when you're judging their performance.
That's so funny. So of course we've talked about my backlog of reviews, and I was posting a review of Red Riding Hood starring Amanda Seyfried, and in it I'm describing her like I'm David Bordwell describing Nicole Kidman, and like I got these flowery terms describing it. It's a very horny review, and I was very embarrassed reading it. I mean, it's not so much that like I think unless you're looking for it, or unless you know me like I know myself, I don't know if anybody else would see it as much. Like most people would probably just see it as kind of, well, that's a word play, to describe who she is. And he definitely finds her attractive, but in my head, I'm like looking at it going, oh my God, this is super horny.
Well, I mean, and that's, I don't want to keep going back to Leo Grande, but the whole point of her taking a robe off at the end is, what she sees in her head of herself is, we all are our toughest critics. And so we see every little flaw in everything we've ever done. That's why I hate looking at Facebook memories, because anything that pops up and I said something, I'm like, oh my God, it's almost like watching somebody totally different, or even listening to the podcast from 2015 that we released last week. It's cool to get to that level of acceptance, at least that character in that movie. That's what's so neat about that performance. But anyway, that's back to Welcome to the Dollhouse. It's back to what I like about the movies that aren't Jurassic World. Every movie this week, including the Adam Sandler one, is very unique. It doesn't look like there's a studio saying, oh, you got to do this. I mean, the Adam Sandler does struggle because they have the paper, the villain. And if you take that out, you actually have a phenomenal movie that you can put up there with any sports movie. But other than that, all these movies are very original, very, just you got to see the director's vision or the writer's vision or the actor's vision come to the screen and just work so well. And that's what's so great about this movie is, especially back then when there were more blockbusters and more, it was harder to get that. I mean, there were the indie movies, but I don't want to say it's harder because obviously you had a lot going on, but I don't know. It was, I like the originality of it. I like everything about it without anything being cookie cutter, I guess. It's just a breath of fresh air on a week where you have to sit through Jurassic World.
Indeed. Oh, absolutely. Todd Solondz is such an interesting director. He's been referred to as being very dark and very cynical, and he is in many ways. Like Storytelling is a very dark and cynical movie. It's very creepy in many ways, but I think that was a wrong tag for this movie. I really think people need to reframe how they watch this movie. Yes, the thing about Brendan Sexton's character saying "I'm going to rape you" or whatever, the stuff he says there, and the use of certain words that are certainly not words you could use today. Certainly does have a dark undertone to it, and the way she's treated or mistreated definitely has a dark edge to it. But really, truly, you're missing this character. You're missing her. You're missing her spirit. You're missing her resilience, her naivety, and her innocence is just so sweet. And Matarazzo, she just captures it so beautifully, just taking in every moment. You can see her learning about this person as if she were this person, and just bringing those things into her imagination and putting this character together. And she's 12 years old doing that. She's incredible.
Yeah, I definitely recommend checking this out if you haven't before. I'd never seen it up until now. I recognized the poster from the video stores growing up, but I never actually took the time to watch it till this week, and I'm glad I did. Just really nice original movie that's holds up very well, probably more so today than it probably did at the time. Maybe that's part of it too. I don't know.
Cool.
But I definitely think you should all go see it.
It's weird though. I'm saying like a lot of people love this movie, and it was one of those indie darlings, and I just think you loved it for the wrong reason.
Oh, it's
they loved it for the wrong reason.
I mean, back to the Cape or the Emma Thompson movie where it's they're loving it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, exactly. She's so brave.
watch the movie again and pay attention this time. Because it's really not complicated. Speaking of not complicated, this is the hard part because I liked this movie because I was a kid when I watched it, and this is one of the first big events for me. We're talking about Batman Returns, widely considered one of the worst ones. I guess Joel Schumacher took it to another level. Anyway, it was kind of the first time I remember a huge event. Where I was like, I remember seeing Batman, but I was still too young to truly appreciate it. Here I'm 12, 13 years old, and I'm starting to really get excited about things. And I remember the commercials, I remember McDonald's, I remember everything. And because of that, I hold a lot of nostalgia for it, and I just like it, but I know it's not good.
I'm not a fan. And mostly, I think mostly it's Danny DeVito. I think they took that character in the entirely wrong direction. Just making him so gross as to I couldn't even look at it. He makes me sick. I get like seasick watching him. He's just so disgusting. There's the scene where he eats the fish heads, just biting into fish and tearing them up. But then you got him walking around in his long johns and they're dirty and he's got this scraggly hair and it's like he's just grotesque, and it just takes away from every scene that he's in. Just making him so grotesque, it's so unnecessary. It's not funny, it's not entertaining, it's eye-catching, I guess, but it's just so gross that it just kind of ruins everything around it. It's like having spoiled milk in your cereal. Like, he's just spoiled milk is what he is. Whereas Michelle Pfeiffer is incredible. I mean, she's so sexy in that outfit. She's so amazing, and those eyes and that awesome scene where she just comes flipping out of the the store, just doing flip after flip after flip, and she stops in front of him and just goes meow, and then the big explosion. That's great. That's a great one. I love that. It would be great if Penguin were in that scene, but it was great nevertheless, even with him there. And Keaton is he's so in Batman at this point. He's so there with the character. He's really feeling it. And so there's so many good things about it. And then just everything to do with Penguin, for right down to the use of penguins in his big scheme and whatnot. Just anything he does is just bad. And I hate saying that because I love Danny DeVito, but this is really Tim Burton's fault. Tim Burton just did not. I'm sure he really hated the TV show, apparently, because why he would choose to do this to this character. Not saying that he had to play it like Burgess Meredith did. I'm not saying that. There had to be a better way to do it than this, though. Just to make him so disgusting, like a horror movie villain, is just so unnecessary to me.
Yeah, I get what they're trying to do, and I mean, obviously it works for me. I mean, he's a bad guy, so I mean, I shouldn't say it works for me. I don't watch it anymore, and I know if I watched it, I wouldn't like it. But as a kid, it worked for me. I know they're trying to make it as realistic as possible for 1992, 1989, when the first one came out. We're still not there where it's, Christopher Nolan doing it and try to even be even more realistic with it. More so than the 60s Batman. So I get what you're going for, but, this movie's overcrowded. You got 3 bad guys in the same movie.
And Christopher Walken.
Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, Christopher Walken, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
All in the same movie. And then watching Val Kilmer's documentary and his opinion of Batman, which then makes sense when Michael Keaton left. You don't really get to do anything. You're just there to service all the people around you. And because Danny DeVito doesn't have, Joker's a much cooler character, it definitely is a step down in that end of things. And but for whatever reason, I have good memories of it, and I don't want to ruin that. So I'm not going to watch it again. But I will also, by the same token, always have a thing for Michelle Pfeiffer, no matter what. Every time she does a movie, I'll be like, I don't care if she's 70 years old, I'll be like, she's hot. And that's not necessarily appropriate either, but it's just, childhood hormones that don't leave you.
the character's intended to be sexy. She's playing the character sexy. So, I mean,
but I'm applying that to everything she's done since then, and I will. I mean,
okay, yeah.
And I was quick to go back and watch everything she did when I was 16 and 17, and wanted to like Scarface so much. She's still the best thing about it. I don't care.
She's so good. She's so good. She even made What Lies Beneath like one of the more memorable movies of all time, just because she's so amazing in it. And that movie's terrible. She's so good in it, though.
Absolutely.
And White Oleander is a movie that people should see. And one of these weeks we got to make her Scorsese movie with her and Malkovich and Glenn Close. Okay. No, that's not the one. That's not Scorsese. There's one that's with him. It's her, and she's directed by Scorsese. I can't remember the title of it, but we need to make it a classic for sure.
Absolutely. Any chance? I mean, I think she's one of the more underrated, largely due to the fact that she was kind of a.
It's not Dangerous Liaisons. That's what I was thinking of, but it's not that one. I don't think.
Went back and watched that. I don't remember the title.
It's killing me.
Well, I can share the screen. We can pull it up on IMDb real quick. Hold on. Let's see here. There we go. That's my Twitter page. While you at home. IMDb. Who that is. Oops, that's not a search bar. Where is my... there we go. Michelle. Where can my internet go? Oh, Michelle Monaghan pops up before Michelle Pfeiffer. Come on. What Lies Beneath is her biggest movie, apparently.
Big hit. Not many people remember it, but it was a big hit.
All right. Change the way I have to do it. All right. She was directed by Scorsese, you said?
Yeah, this would be back in the 80s, though. 80s, 90s, I guess. Early 90s. Age of Innocence.
Age of Innocence.
Age of Innocence, I think that's the one, yeah.
Oh, Daniel Day-Lewis, right?
Yep. There it is. Yeah, her and Daniel Day-Lewis and Winona Ryder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, this is one I didn't go back and watch, but if you notice, it's PG, so that's probably why my teenage brain didn't go back and watch it. I hate myself sometimes. All right. So next week, I will not be on the show, but Sean does have a show lined up for you. So what can we expect next week, or is it a surprise?
We've got the classic is going to be Cruising in honor of... I don't know if it's in honor of Pride. Jeff picked it and said it was in honor of Pride. I've not seen Cruising in a long time. I don't know how necessarily Pride-friendly that movie is, but I trust Jeff that he's, knows that. So, and we also got we've got Elvis, the new Baz Luhrmann movie.
Thank God.
We've got The Black Phone with Ethan Hawke, which is getting some pretty strong buzz so far. And I'm going to see the re-releases of both. I've seen the re-release of the Discreet Charm and the Bourgeoisie, which is a 1972 Luis Buñuel movie, which I've got a review up already on Twitter at Podcast Sean. And I've got, I'm going to see Lost Highway, which is also being re-released. So I'm going to take a look at that one, and we're going to talk about that movie next week as well.
Like the
David Lynch movie.
Wow. That actually got a re-release. Okay. Can't wait to listen to that episode. One, I like your guess, and two, I'm very curious on Lost Highway again, because it's been a while since I watched that as well, and
I didn't like it when I saw it back in the late 90s. Yeah,
I wanted to like it. I really did, but I could not get into it.
Much like, what was it, Eraserhead. I still am not a fan of Eraserhead. I get why people think it's amazing, but I don't. I think it's unwatchable. But then Elephant Man is amazing. So, Lynch is a great director.
I appreciate him as an artist. And sometimes
he thinks differently. Mulholland Drive, great movie.
Don't know
Wild
what
at Heart,
about.
great movie.
Right. All right. Well, before we go to Flickchart, I want to say go to patreon.com/criticspod to help support the podcast. Get yourself a bonus episode. And if you would like to get a 4K Blu-ray from Sean, where he got it from the studios, give us a 5-star review and we'll read them on the air at Apple Podcasts. Also, let us know you did that. And let's move on to our Flickchart, and let's do Easy Rider versus What Happens in Vegas.
It is shit. I don't know. They're both garbage. I guess Easy Rider.
Yeah, very few times.
I need to reread my What Happens in Vegas review. I hope I didn't like it.
Yeah, Easy Rider is one of those movies where I wanted to like it so bad because you heard it mentioned in the same breath as Godfather and all these other classic movies, and it was just like
so far up its own ass.
They're just driving.
But no, they stopped to get stoned a couple of times.
That is true. West Side Story 2021, The Magnificent Seven, 1960.
It's a West Side Story for me.
I haven't seen it, so I'll just let you have it. I do. The Magnificent Seven was more, though, like blockbuster Western, more so than good Western.
Mm-hmm.
Naked Gun 2.5, The Princess Bride.
Princess Bride.
Agreed. Wow.
Oh my god. What the hell?
That's fucked up. I don't think we've ever had this movie on Flickchart before.
Never.
I almost should save it, but Lost Highway or League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
It's Lost Highway because League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is somehow worse than what I remember Lost Highway.
What? Again, it's back to Lost Highway, at least something original that's trying for something, when the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is a cash grab or attempted a cash grab. It failed miserably.
Failed,
an attempt at it. Never seen Avalanche Express?
No.
Last of the Mohicans, Miracle on 34th Street.
I think Miracle on 34th Street is shorter, so I'll go with that one.
That's definitely where I'd go to.
Last of the Mohicans just look. I need to watch it. It's just when I saw it as a kid, it was such homework.
It literally was homework for me.
Exactly.
I was assigned to as a project in one of my history classes, and War for the Planet of the Apes, Patient 17.
Never heard of Patient 17.
Neither have I. Bolt or War of the Planet of the Apes.
War for the Planet of the Apes. Such a great movie.
Red Dawn 84, Blade Runner 82.
Blade Runner. I had a funny experience today about Blade Runner. I was watching these guys do a wrestling news show on YouTube, and Dave Bautista, they had a piece about him. Bautista got a tattoo, and they're like, I wonder what that tattoo is. I don't know what that means. Like, why is there a unicorn and it looks like it's made of paper or something? And like, that's the unicorn from Blade Runner. The origami unicorn from Blade Runner. Felt so old watching that.
Oh my god.
No idea what it meant. And they were like, both of them are like 25, 26, 27 years old.
Wow. I mean, if it makes you feel better, my son's taking drum lessons, and he went to his drum teacher kind of wanting to learn the intro to Walk This Way, and he was like, never heard of it. What is that?
Oh.
Like, great. This kid's a great drummer in the area, and he's like, Walk This Way. Yeah. I never heard of that song. Oh, the Run DMC thing?
Oh.
No, that didn't happen. That didn't happen.
That would have been right in your heart right there.
Yeah, but it was just kind of like, really? Everybody knows that. Maybe not.
Not anymore, apparently.
The Santa Claus 2 Iron Man.
I love Santa Claus 2, apparently. But Iron Man is my pick.
Yeah. Scarface, Broken Flowers.
Broken Flowers.
Absolutely. Friday the 13th, Part 2, 1917.
Oh, 1917. Yeah. That's the one.
It's a much better movie.
Yeah.
That's a real movie.
Took me a while to remember which one it was.
Yeah. Annie, Rosemary's Baby.
Rosemary's Baby.
Enough said. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Airplane 2, the sequel.
Much as I love Cloudy with a Chance, I can't get enough of Airplane. It's pure nostalgia for me. That is my one of my favorite movies in my childhood. I'll never forget either of the Airplane movies. I had them both on Laserdisc. I watched them over and over again. Just endlessly entertaining.
Yeah, me as well. The whole 10 yards of The Hangover.
Hangover.
Yes. Life of Brian, Stand By Me.
Life of Brian.
Yeah. The 7% Solution.
No. Sherlock Holmes, but I've never seen it.
The Presidio, Frankenstein.
Frankenstein by a lot.
Yes. Along Came Spider, The Queen.
The Queen is amazing. One of the great movies of the early 2000s.
Never seen it, and I should. The Amazing Spider-Man, Memento.
Memento, absolutely. An amazing film as well.
Absolutely. Empire of the Sun, 9.
I mean, 9 is pretty... It's impressive as a technical thing. It's not very connective emotionally. Empire of the Sun is homework. It's just pure fucking homework.
Yeah. It comes back to shorter.
Yeah. Which one? 9 is shorter, so let's go there. You'll be over faster.
Captain America, The Winter Soldier, Air Force One.
Get off my plane! No, it's Winter Soldier. It's Winter Soldier.
I know, but it's all I could think of was like something to wrestle
say.
with. Is you're doing your Bruce Pritchard now? All right, we got to the point of the show where you got to say this. Say it, Bruce.
Where's my girl?
It's gonna come up against Lost Highway later. Cowboys and Aliens, Lake Placid.
Lake Placid. It's a bad movie, but it's less disappointing than Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah. I like to pretend like Cowboys and Aliens doesn't exist. Adventure in Babysitting, Serenity.
Serenity.
Sure, I don't remember that one that well, but that's fine. 7 Psychopaths, Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid.
7 Psychopaths. Great movie.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of fun to watch. The Fifth Element, Melinda and Melinda.
That's tough. That is a tough one. I really like both of those movies. There might be one less sex pest in Fifth Element, so let's go there.
All right. Panic Room, Multiplicity. I'd never seen Melinda, so that's why I didn't vote.
It's a Woody Allen movie.
Oh yeah, that's. We know for yeah. Never mind.
I didn't even look at the cast, but I imagine there might be other sex pests.
Gotcha. And then you got to deal with Luke.
You can really do that a lot with a lot of '90s movies. You pick the one that has the least number of sex offenders in it.
Oh man, it's sad that's like more real than it.
Every day it gets more real.
Yeah.
Oh.
Panic Room, Multiplicity.
So I don't hate Panic Room. It's definitely like Fincher's Least, but Fincher's Least is better than other people's most. Multiplicity is like kind of a sitcom more than a movie.
I mean, it's
Keaton's really good in it.
He's what makes that movie even work. That said, I mean, I don't quote it, but if people did, I'd know what movie they're talking about. Especially the Pizza Steve line, Multiplicity. Panic Room, again, like you said, it's lesser Fincher, but it's also better than most people. And Fincher's probably my favorite director, so I really don't know.
Yeah, that's really tough.
Nostalgia I think probably leads me to Multiplicity, honestly. So let's go ahead.
Let's go there.
Oh, you want to go there?
Yeah, let's go there. Because I don't hate Multiplicity. It's a sitcom compared to a movie, compared to a Fincher movie.
Speaking of movies, is The Barbaric Beast of Boggy Hill Part 2 a movie?
I've never seen though.
I haven't even heard of it.
I think I might have seen you just picked it.
What did I pick it over? I freaked out already. Man.
You could go to undo.
Can I?
There's an undo on the
I've
left
never
hand
even
side.
noticed that. You could have told me that weeks ago. I picked it over Dumb and Dumber. Antebellum.
And we'll still go with Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, yeah. Antebellum was terrible.
Terrible.
Fighting with My Family, Incredibles 2.
Fighting with My Family, actually, is, I think, better than Incredibles 2. But I didn't love Incredibles 2.
No.
I didn't even love, really, The Incredibles, honestly. I like it. I think it's good. But there's elements of it that really hold me back on The Incredibles.
I really liked Fighting with My Family a lot.
People will get mad at me because I'll rank, like, Cars and Cars 2 higher than The Incredibles in my list.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm one of the few who doesn't hate Cars 2. I don't hate Cars 2.
I don't either, but I also, my son was a big Cars kid, so it was easy to, I don't know, it was on all the time, so I didn't hate it. Hunger Games, Dukes of Hazzard with Jessica Simpson.
Hunger Games. Absolutely.
Date movie, Machete.
For fuck's sake. Good God. You want to shit on my head or do you want to piss on me? Which one do you prefer?
Which one's Machete?
I would be pissing on you. Because date movie is pure shit.
That's less embarrassing than shitting.
Yeah, let's go with that one.
I don't love Machete. In fact, in a lot of ways, it's more disappointing because I want it to be so good, but it just kind of is. Vegas Vacation or Kiss the Girls?
Kiss the Girls.
Yeah.
Just for the competence of Morgan Freeman and Ashley Judd.
Mom and Dad Save the World, Psycho.
Psycho.
Yes. The Big Trail, 1930.
No, not seen that one.
Kiki's Delivery Service or Doctor Strange?
I've not seen Kiki either, honestly. I want to. I need to see it.
The New Guy, Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
I've never seen
Saving your choice.
I've never seen a Doctor Strange movie, just movies with him in it. The Queen, America's Sweetheart.
The Queen. Absolutely.
Split, American Wedding.
I like American Wedding a lot, but it's Split for me.
Absolutely.
Even as M. Night Shyamalan does everything he can to ruin it.
Yeah, it doesn't get much worse than Glass. Two movies I don't care about. Dinosaur, Look Who's Talking To.
Like the worst Pixar movie versus Look Who's Talking To. I'll take the worst Pixar movie.
Grave of the Fireflies.
That's a lovely film.
Or The Royal Tenenbaums.
I'll take Royal Tenenbaums. That's more my speed. But yeah, Grave of the Fireflies is beautiful.
Interstellar, Inner Space.
Interstellar for me.
I don't like Inner Space either, so I'm fine with that.
I thought we'd flip on that one.
If it was like Assassins, I might flip. Freddy Got Fingered or Assassins.
I honestly don't know which way to go.
This is kind of a Batman Returns kind of thing for me, which I'm sure Assassins is terrible.
Assassins is unwatchable, yeah.
But I was such a big Stallone fan that I would watch and make myself like everything.
Whereas Freddy Got Fingered is just is awful in every possible conceivable way. At the same time, I still don't know if he intended it or not. Like, is this just a wonderful prank that he played on the entire world, or is he just legitimately untalented? I still don't know, and that makes that far more interesting to me than Assassins.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to flip it.
Fair enough.
But I'll still flip just to be nice.
Do you think Tom Green was incompetent, or do you think he was like, he's just giving everyone the middle finger?
I think there's a gray area in between.
It's just
I don't
so
think
weird.
he cared. I don't think he's incompetent, but I don't think he was punk rock enough to flip everybody off. I just don't think.
That's reasonable.
I think he got off on being. It's almost like flipping people off, but I think he like almost got off on not being funny to the point where it was funny for some.
Yeah, there's a definite, there's a like kind of an anti-humor. Yeah, anti-humor before anti-humor was
right. Cool. Like kind of inspired by Kaufman, but not quite that talented.
It's not quite Neil Hamburger.
Right, and a little bit ahead of his time because then Johnny Knoxville comes in and does it better. A little bit later, so. I don't know.
Well pointed.
This is the most analysis on Freddy Got Figured on any podcast ever. Probably not true. What Happens in Vegas, Leading Lady.
I've never seen Leading Lady.
Neither have I. What Happens in Vegas, Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, obviously.
I can't pronounce that.
Yeah, I don't.
The Bourne Legacy, Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
I really like Iron Man 3. It gets better for me, honestly.
Well, it's... And again, the director doesn't come without his problems. But I do like his movies. Kiss, Kiss, Bang, Bang is one of the most watchable movies I've ever seen. I would love watching that. And then the one he did with...
The Nice Guys.
Nice Guys as well. And I know Iron Man 3 turned people off, but it's basically Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is Iron Man, and I fucking love that.
That's great.
So he made it for you and I, but not the Marvel Universe, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd, Mickey Blue Eyes.
Sweeney Todd, fuck Mickey Blue Eyes. I hate that fucking movie.
Is that the one where he gets hit by a car right away? Or is that
I don't remember. I want to forget, honestly.
I don't think it is. The Avengers, Bright Young Things.
I don't know if I've seen Bright Young Things. It sounds familiar, but it's not ringing a bell for me, really.
The Avengers, The Color of Money.
The Avengers 1998. And I know the other movie's called just Avengers, but nevertheless, this is the Uma Thurman Ray Fiennes one, so I can explain why I'm going to pick Color of Money. It's an audio medium.
What would you have taken if it was Avengers?
If it was Avengers, I might take Avengers.
Yeah.
I like Color of Money, but I'm a big fan of Avengers, so
what about the
I might have taken it, but I would have had to think about it for a little bit.
Yeah. Cape Fear, Strangers on a Train.
Strangers on a Train. If this had been the original Cape Fear, it might be a little closer.
Right. Benchwarmers, Open Water.
Open Water, yeah, absolutely. No, I wasn't thinking about that one at all. I did not pause to think about it. Like Open Water was always thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah, Open Water, I think, is an underrated horror movie.
Yeah, I agree.
The Golden Child, Sneakers.
I was like legit like covering my eyes and chewing my fingernails during Open Water.
Oh, yeah.
Really tapped into something deep in my soul in that one.
Well, I always thought Open Water, when Gravity, when that came out, I was like, is this open water in space? Like, I was fully prepared as Sandra Bullock just floating away for 2 hours, and I would have been terrified. It ended up not being that. It was fantastic, don't get me wrong, but that would have scared the crap out of me, and Open Water definitely did that.
Which is interesting, because that's an idea we have for a Patreon bonus show, the movies that scarred you in the past, and I think Open Water would be a good choice for that one, honestly.
And that's one of the ones I haven't talked about as much compared to some of the other horror movies that I have. But yeah, absolutely. Want to be done?
All right, fair enough.
I'm just not motivated by the Golden Child or Sneakers.
I hear that.
All right. Have fun next week. I can't wait to hear it.
Yep.
All right.
I'll be ready.
Bye.